Flosstube, it's Kim. I'm back again with my second Flosstube video. Thank you so much to everyone who watched, subscribed, and left me some great comments. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited to keep making videos. Today is Monday, the 4th of February. My oldest daughter, the 6-year-old, does not have school today. We got somewhere between 5 and 11 inches of snow yesterday. It's hard to measure because it was this really fine snow that was blowing a lot in the wind and drifting. So, like our driveway only had about 4 inches, but then other people had drifts halfway up their front doors. So it all depended on which way your house was facing and the wind. So my husband didn't have to work this morning, but he just went into work right after lunch. And I'm hoping the youngest, my 3-year-old, is still going to preschool this afternoon, so my oldest and I get some time to ourselves to get some things done without the youngest being around. So, first off, I want to say thank you to some Flosstubers who gave me a shout out. Helen D, Aussie Stitcher Belinda, and the Distracted Stitcher Kimberly. Thank you so much for giving me a shout out. I really appreciate all your videos and love seeing your stitchy progress. Okay. First off, we're going to talk about moon hair, since it's the piece I work on every single day. This is my piece for the 90-day challenge in Full Coverage Fanatics. It is a Hade. Art is by Susan Geisman. I stitched this 2/1 tent stitch on 25 count Lugana. First off, here's a picture of the art and a picture of where I was last week. And here you can see I put a whole lot more into the stems and more into the blue background. And you can see a little bit of the yellow, but I'll talk about that later. That goes into this week's plans. So that's moon hair. Last week I told you that I was working on this piece for Stitching Around the World in Portia's group Stitch Talk Hade Challenges. I have decided to forego that challenge because I have so much else going on. Since I'm working on this in the 90-day challenge in Full Coverage Fanatics and all the things I'm doing for Magical Stitches, I really didn't need all that more counting of stitches going on. Plus, I discovered there was a huge error in the grid of the destinations for Stitching Around the World. It was 10,000 stitches too many. So the 53,000 plus stitches that you're doing to Stitch Around the World, it's not actually accurate. New York City to Queenstown, Ireland is only just over 5,000 kilometers, not 15,000 kilometers. So that mistake, which attention to detail matters to me because I was a, Air Force officer, plus the fact that I have enough counting going on in my stitching, I decided not to continue with Stitching Around the World. But I'll still be doing this for the 90-day challenge, and I will finish it this year. So that's moon hair. Next up, I told you I was going to be working on McIntosh Mill. It's a Dimensions kit by Charles Wysocki. Here's what it's going to look like. And here's where I was last week. So I did work on this for the 300 detention stitches in Magical Stitches, and I went the easy route. I did big blocks of color, so all that red and the little bit of black that you see is what I did with this door, the window, these doors to the hayloft. There'll be hay coming out here, and then there's a window that will go above the hayloft. So those were my 300 stitches for Detention in Magical Stitches. And then I worked on Friends Forever by Hade, art by Ann Stokes. So it was the 31st of January when I found out that tent stitches in the Magical Stitches group only count as half. So I was able to fix my January extra credit with Moon here because I had lots of pictures from Stitching Around the World where I could update the things I use Moon hair for. But for this was my piece for the 300 stitches of DMC 934 for platform 9 3/4. And I also used it for one of the ultimate stitching tasks because Harry and Ron received 7 owls and they're best friends. So I used this one for Friends Forever. But I only did 1,000 stitches instead of 2,000 stitches because it's 10 stitch. So here's what it looked like last week when I showed you. So I had to do 1,300 stitches, so 300 for the 934 and 1,000 more for the ultimate task. And you can see all those dark curtain shade lines are thicker, and also over here is thicker. And oops, you might have noticed that this section is also in a different spot because it was down here. I was 10 off. Luckily I've figured that out before I added all the rest of the stitches to it, so I frogged it, moved it up, then added the rest. So 1,300 more stitches into Friends Forever. That's 25 count Lugana, as most of my full coverage are. And then I did work on Camelot, like I said I was going to. This Camelot sampler by Teresa Wensler. Try to get it without the glare. Okay, so one of the ultimate stitching tasks is 7 Horcruxes. The Sword of Gryffindor was able to destroy Horcruxes, so I decided to start working on the Excalibur block. But then we also got the homework for the first few days of February to work 300 stitches on a piece that is in Whip Prison. Well, this piece I wanted to finish it last year. And I wanted to work a little bit on it each day, like I'm working on Moon hair, in order to get it finished. And I started January 1st and 2nd on Guinevere's shoulders, right here, the blue bits in the corner. So I worked on it those 2 days. It's over 2 section, and I got fed up. I was tired of it. Blended stitches, confetti. It wasn't what I wanted to work on, and so I put it away and didn't touch it for the remainder of 2018. So that definitely qualifies as being in Whip Prison. So I did the 300 stitches for on Guinevere to get her out of prison, and that actually finished up her over 2 section, as well as a little bit on the nameplate part where her name will be. So as you can see, I'll hold it this way so you can, her over 2 section is done. Her face and her crown will be over 1, and then her name will be over 1 and right here. And then for the 7 Horcruxes, I did that whole full coverage W, all the text, and all of this border. That's all over 1, which was so much easier than Guinevere, because there wasn't any confetti and no blends, and it was just over 1 work. Even though it's teeny tiny stitches, it's less mentally demanding than the over 2 section. So that block says, "Whoso pulleth out this sword of this stone and anvil is the true born king of all England." So that's Camelot sampler. And let's see, for this week, the Magical Stitches homework is the 7 ingredients for Polyjuice Potion. You can work them in any order, and it's 100 stitches on each, 200 if you don't have any whip that fits. And of course, if you're doing 10 stitches like my full coverage are, I have to do double the amount of stitches. So for lace wing flies, you have to do something that flies. I'm going to work on Trick or Treat by Randall Spangler because it has ghosts and a witch on a broomstick. So if I remember, I will put in a picture of what that will look like. For leeches or something that sticks or sucks, I'm going to work on, that's the yellow stitches that I have going on moon hair, because I'm into the last little bits of confetti to finish that page, and confetti definitely sucks. But that's tent stitch, so I'll be doing 200 confetti stitches. For the bicorn horn, which is hard to find, I'm going to work more on McIntosh Mill, because that is an extremely hard to find kit. And let's see, knot grass, you have to work on something with grass. I'll work on the 1930 Alfa Romeo car that's sitting on grass. The fluxweed that you find during the full moon. Working on a night piece or a piece on dark fabric. I'll also work on trick or treat, because you trick or treat at night. There's 200 more stitches on that one. And boom slang skin, working on skin. I'm going to start getting Guinevere a face on Camelot sampler. And a bit of the person you want to turn into. Something that someone enabled you to work on. And I'm going to work again on McIntosh Mill, because I first learned about that piece when I saw it finish either on Stitch Mania or Instagram. I think it was Pyrex Stitches, her finish, that I saw. So those will be my homework for this week in Magical Stitches. The other thing I want to work on for February in Full Coverage Fanatics, the monthly theme is fairy tales. So I'm going to work on Beauty and the Beast 2017 by Tilton Crafts to add more to that. And I'm also using that as my by the numbers 1200 piece. So that'll be 2400 tent stitches for me. Progress on that one, at least. We'll see how far I get with all the extra homework and tasks in Magical Stitches. So, to conclude, before my children start walking in the door, I'm going to insert a video of my parrot, Hopper, or Grasshopper. He's a blue-fronted Amazon. We've had him since 2004. He's been a part of our family, but he's actually was hatched in 2001. So he's going to be turning 18 this year. Hopper had a real tough transition when we moved here. He's moved with us. This was his 5th move with us. He doesn't usually have any problems as long as I try to keep his cage in the same type space in the house, a common area with the cage to the wall. But he got really sick the beginning of December. I thought he was going to die. I had to drive several hours to a vet that would actually see him, and luckily he did respond to antibiotics, which was not fun, trying to force feed a bird oral antibiotics. So here I'll insert a video of Hopper. This is a video I took a couple nights ago. It was after dinner time, right before bed. So he had a full crop. He's a happy bird. We were not paying him direct attention. So he was going through his little repertoire of sounds. He only does this when we're not paying attention to him. So I was stitching in a chair while he's over here, and I was literally holding up my phone, looking at my phone to see that I was getting good video, but not looking at him. Because if I paid him attention, he would have stopped and would have asked for some pets. So I'll also try to include a picture of him, since in the video he's pretty washed out since he's right in front of his light. So that's Hopper, our bird, one of our loved family members. So I will see you guys hopefully next week. Stay warm and get some good stitching in. Bye, guys.